We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us.
That was President Joe Biden last week with a warning to those who still refuse to get vaccinated. With mandates rolling out across the country, Biden appears to be abandoning efforts to persuade the vaccine hesitant, choosing instead to divide Americans, turning the vaccinated and the unvaccinated against each other. So what does the White House hope to achieve with this divisive rhetoric? Joining me now, co-publisher of Human Events, Will Chamberlain. Will, good to see you.
Good to be with you, Buck, as always.
All right, so what do you think the strategy really is here, Will? What are the calculations that are going into the new Biden approach, which is get vaccinated or we hate you and we'll make your lives miserable?
I think it's twofold. I think one, it's sort of a kind of a lashing out from people in the Biden administration, like a lashing out that they have not successfully persuaded some portions of the population to get vaccinated as much as they could. And it's rooted in a concession that they have failed to persuade people, which is really quite shocking, given that the actual underlying facts of the matter lean towards generally most people should be probably getting vaccinated. I mean, I personally have antibodies because I have a prior infection. I haven't been vaccinated, but I've looked at the statistics, and if it weren't for that, I think it's probably a no-brainer. But the fact that the Biden administration can't even persuade people of that, I think they're just lashing out in anger. And I think the second thing is also obviously to distract from the failure of the Afghanistan withdrawal. The decision to do something this dramatic is an easy way to change the conversation, as it kind of has. Afghanistan has receded in the news cycle over the past few days, and I think it really is pretty cynical. I mean, these people all see themselves as sort of West Wing expert comms professionals, Aaron Sorkin types, and I think they thought it was a strategic move to distract people from the Afghanistan withdrawal, appalling as it may be.
At least 75% of eligible Americans have gotten the vaccine. So what does this kind of rhetoric you're hearing from the administration say to people about the effectiveness of the vaccines? That vaccinated people have to be protected from the unvaccinated, Will. This is what they're saying now. We need to protect the vaccinated from the unvaccinated. That seems weird to people sitting around saying, hold on a second, I thought the vaccine protects you.
Well, that's substantively anti-vax rhetoric, right? Because that's indicting the underlying effectiveness of the vaccine. People, the way to frame this and the way it's been done with every vaccine in the past, to my knowledge, is that if you're trying to make a sort of public health, Good Samaritan argument for taking the vaccine, it's that it protects the people who can't take the vaccine for some reason, right? The immunocompromised. But here they're saying we need to coerce the unvaccinated to take the vaccine to protect the vaccinated. Well, by that logic, then it suggests that the vaccine is not sufficient to protect the vaccinated, which is exactly the argument made by anti-vax proponents. I think it's not only substantively anti-vax rhetoric, it's also very Manichean. This sort of good evil, it's funny, we had George Bush back on the stage last week, but this, sort of good evil dichotomy, us versus them, except now it's us versus other Americans. It's actually pretty gross.
Former FDA commissioner and a guy that you see talking about this stuff on TV all the time. I think he's on the board of Pfizer too, but I have to check on that. Scott Gottlieb, he has said that vaccine mandates could actually discourage vaccination in the near term. I wanted you to react to this.
I think the downside of this mandate in terms of hardening positions and taking something that was subtly political and making it overtly political could outweigh any of the benefits that we hope to achieve. If you look at where we are right now, 75% of adults over the age of 18 have had at least one dose of the vaccine. Most of them will complete the series. That's a very high number of people vaccinated, owing to the good work of the Biden administration. We're not going to get above 90%. We don't even really reach 90% with childhood immunizations, which are mandated. So we're going to get somewhere between 80 and 90%. I would state that we would have gotten to 80% just on our current trajectory in short order. In the near term, a lot of businesses that might have mandated vaccines are now going to sit on their hands and say, I'm going to wait for OSHA to tell me just how to do it and give me more political cover. So in the near term, you could actually discourage some vaccination.
Can you just, make some sense of that for us, Will?
I think it's exactly right. I mean, he's right to say that this will discourage vaccination. I think nothing could do more you've managed to make not getting a vaccine a statement of rebellion or resistance against the administration, which half the country is extremely wide open to for good reason, given how obnoxious this administration is. I mean, if you were thinking about it from a global public health perspective and you're trying to achieve the goal of getting more people vaccinated, this is exactly the wrong thing to do, right? Given how many people are already vaccinated, the persuasion is far more effective than coercion, just obviously. And so that also kind of leads into the cynical. The only reading of this is that it's very cynical, because if they were actually just purely focused on public health, this would be what they do. But they have political purposes here. They really wanted to change the conversation. They want to mobilize their base against Republicans and sort of, be defending the neurotic hypochondriacs of the world who think that despite their vaccination, they can't go out in public because other people remain unvaccinated. I mean, it's just gross and appalling all around. I think the Biden administration should be deeply ashamed of itself.